And good evening, everyone. This is Charles, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, where connections matter. We are live on Sunday, August the 7th, coming to you live, Detroit Metro Plug podcast. I'm excited. We have what I call Authors Week. Somehow, when we schedule guests, we schedule two authors for this week for tonight and tomorrow. And I'm excited about our guest. She is an award winning author and writer. So before we get into that, though, for those who are joining us live, want to thank you for watching us live on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Uh, I want to encourage you to like and share this feed with people you think could benefit from this show, who's interested in learning about the process of putting a book together, getting it published, the whole process. So for tonight and tomorrow, you want to tune in if you're interested. You've been dreaming about a book. There's a book written. I believe everybody has a book in them to write about, whether it's about their life or something they experienced growing up. So here you'll learn firsthand, independent authors, how to self-publish, all that. So like and share. All right. So we're going to get right to it, to our guests. Let me do a formal introduction. Our guest. Let me read a little information. So, our guest for tonight is an award-winning Detroit author and founder of Motown Writers Network. She has independently published over 55 romance suspense books. In 20 years, she has been in the literary business. She's an avid blogger, a podcaster, social media manager, and a digital strategist. She has received literary recognition for her community literary work. She has eight, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight number one best sellers. She's also a speaker, literary encouragement, and she's a busy mompreneur. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who I'm talking about none other than Mrs. Sylvia Hubbard.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, I had to give you a little horns. You are a big deal in the area of Detroit, and I appreciate you coming on this platform.
Oh, honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we're about celebrating people and their contributions, especially Detroiters, and what you've been doing in the community. And before
Yes.
we go right into all the stuff that you're doing and about writing books and publishing books, just share a little bit about yourself that you feel comfortable with. Where you're from, who you're with, all that good stuff.
So I was born and raised in Detroit, and I just did my college thing, had babies, and then I started publishing. I've always had a love for books and the written word, and I started publishing back in 2000 on my own and just learning about the literary world. And I also created a group called Motown Writers Network back then at the same time to help writers get to their literary goals and connect readers to Michigan authors. After that, it's just as 20 years, 20 or so more years, I've published on my own, learned how to be a working, busy mompreneur while raising the kids and also running a very successful organization and just getting out there and speaking about being a mom, being a author, and telling people about the business of it, because what I go through, I don't want you to go through, and I just want to get out there and teach, be an asset to humanity instead of a liability. And that's how I am, is that we've always been able to grow and share the information with our group. And also, I'm a romance suspense author, so I always say I'm bad on paper so I can be good in life. And coming up, I'll have, like, by the end of the year, in all this year, I've published like over 6 books just this year alone. So I'm pretty proud of myself. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm married. My kids are grown, and now I'm trying to learn how to be an empty nester. So that's always interesting. And I'm also a Habitat for Humanity board member. So I work for affordable home care in Detroit. And I'm always a literary uh, doula for everyone. So
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing about yourself and your family. Let's get a little bit into your journey. Have in your journey as a writer, was that something that you were passionate about as a kid, or how did you get? How did your interest in writing? How did that
but
get started?
it always comes. My mom told me that she actually interrupted one of my workshops and told me that I used to lie to her when I was a little girl,
Mhm.
and she used to give me a butt whooping. And then she would make me write my lie down after the butt whooping and then come back and read the lie off, and then I'd get a second butt whooping. So what it was teaching me is it's not about, in humankind, it's not about the lie that hurts us. It's about how much work you put into the lie that really hurts you as a human. That other person hurt you because of that lie. But it also taught me storytelling, that there's various levels of storytelling. Some you don't do with your mouth.
Okay. Now you were writing this at what, 4 or 5 or
Yeah, listen.
how?
She said I was about 5. She said I was about 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
And she was just sick and tired of it. She was like, she knew there was a creative source in there. She's like, because it would be so interesting. But then, of course, she was like one of those mothers who'd let you think you getting away with it and then come
Right.
back
All right.
snatch you up. So,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I also learned not to lie. I don't
Mhm.
have a lot of friends, but I learned how to start really getting into layering
Storytelling.
storytelling, and just my pain became my pleasure. And I just love to just be able to tell a story, be able to
Okay.
create something that is just awesome on paper where you can immerse someone in. And then I got into romance when I was 12. I
12.
stole a romance book from the library and I just loved it. I love that feeling. Not, it wasn't even about, and people say, well, it was about the sex. It wasn't really about that. It was about that, finding that happily ever after, and getting to that point of everyone can have love. So I figure it's a billion ways to say, to fall in love. And I hope to create every one of those from Detroit stories of people falling in love, because
Mhm.
people don't know the single woman struggle, or people don't know the urban struggle that we have.
Right.
But I think that there's always a way to incorporate love. I think crazy need love too. So it's a wide range of characters in my books where they just yearn for happily ever afters, which is what romance promises. And then suspense has always been in my nature, and drama, because I'm from Detroit, and violence. So I'm kind of like a James Patterson Zane mixed together.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
All right.
you're gonna find all of those elements inside of my stories,
All
and
right.
just because at the end I promise a happily ever after, because it is a romance. So
Okay.
that's what we do.
All right. So if I understand you it started, your mom kind of a way of a punishment in terms of writing out some of the storytelling you were doing, or
Right.
some people call live storytelling. So you started writing. You found a interest in storytelling at
Hmm.
a young age. You discover romance novel books at preteen or teenager.
Yeah.
And how did you hone your writing skills? Were you really into I wasn't really into my English class. I'm a bad speller even today.
I wasn't really into English, but I had got into journalism.
Okay, okay.
Because my teachers always said, like, my writing was just power. They would always say these are powerful. Of course, they give you the word count, and
So you
I
worked in the school newspaper or something, journal in
yeah,
high
so I
school
became
or
editor of the school newspaper, and then when
okay,
I went to college, I became editor of this college paper. So I did a lot of journalism. I was part of the
journalism. Okay,
junior NABJs for a while, and I expand, and then I also did drama as well. So I would do scripts and things like that. But I always just love just the idea of just telling a story and layering it with a
okay,
complicated and conflicted, and just making more of a 3D. In storytelling, you can tell more of a 3D kind of
okay.
story where people are looking one way and you can do something else. So it
Mm.
always just boiled down to me going, always practicing on being it. I never went to school. I mean, I took classes and everything like that, but I would see my friends who wanted to be authors, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to school for creative writing." And then after they finish school, they'll be like, "Oh, I don't want to write anymore." It's just like
Wow.
college took that away. So in college, I studied like business and marketing and
Okay.
things like that, but I always like would just learn how to write on my own, read
Right.
articles.
It was a passion, a hobby,
Yeah, it
something
was
that
a
you was,
passion
yeah.
and a hobby
Okay.
that grew
Didn't
into,
feel like work. It didn't feel like work. You were
yeah,
passionate about it. It was
and
fun.
it
It was
was
an
a
outlet.
joy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome. So let's go back. So so it didn't feel like work. It was a passion. It was a hobby, a passion. It was fun. It was a way to
and I
an
wanted to
outlet.
be, yeah, at that time, and I would say this was back in my mid, well, early 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
Then life got in the way. I became a single mom
Yeah.
when I was 24. So life kind of got in the way.
Yeah.
But as I was a young, and then I had a baby. I had two babies right after each other, and
Yeah.
then saw them and said, I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I didn't want to go and say, follow your dreams and passions, and you're not doing,
Doing
and
it
I'm not doing the
yourself.
same thing,
Okay.
and I'd seen so many people, especially because I went down to Florida for college. I'd seen so many older people who had, we would go and clean out their houses, and I would see like their hobbies on shelves in back corners and all
Wow.
dusted. And that
Wow.
became really significant to me because it was like, I didn't want to be that kind of person. I didn't want somebody to come in my house and say, "Oh, what is this chest?" and open it up, and bam, all these stories would be inside in notebooks, handwritten. And
Yeah.
then it became down to an economic decision. I was getting a divorce, and I just needed $100, and I was complaining to my mother, and it wasn't in a complaint of give me some money. It was just like, Ma, this is so hard. I'm so exhausted, and I can't get a second job because I have the two kids. And then she was like, well, why don't you just publish a book, and just make $100 a month? If you could just make $100 a month, to get over that hump, that third week, right before your monthly paycheck that pays all the bills. I had that third week of so broke. I'm scraping and pulling change out the couch kind of week and everything. And I was like, if it was just $100, if I could just make $100 just free and clear, I don't owe it to anybody or anything. So that's what it came down to. And then it was so funny because I published, and then I was putting my books up on Amazon even before people even knew how to put their books up on Amazon. And it was so crazy because Jeff Bezos would drop a check on the 29th.
Okay.
You could write a check to his drops.
Right.
So
Oh,
it
okay.
so
Okay.
it would just be that $100 I needed just to get over into
Just
the
to get
first
over.
first week of the month. Just, oh yes, thank you. And
All right.
to
All
this
right.
day, that's all I think about is that I get the 29th every month. Jeff Bezos, that's my baby
All right.
daddy.
That's
You
your
give me
baby
my money.
daddy. That's funny. Now, you jumped into it. If you don't mind, want to kind of
No, go ahead.
because this platform is kind of informative, and I try to,
Mhm.
if you don't mind, kind of slow the process down. So, how were you when you published your first book?
So when I published my first book, it was exactly around 1999, and
Okay,
that was the
1999.
Y2K bug. Everybody was
Okay.
like thinking the world was going to end back then, and everyone was like, once 2000 hit, the whole world was just going to blow up because
Right.
of
Right. I remember
everything.
that. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? If the world is going to end, let me try to see how I can become an author, in that. So I kind of like was looking around, keeping my ear to the ground, how I could do it, because of course you got to feed your kids. So I didn't have
Right.
any
Right.
extra money
Right. Right.
just floating in my pocket. And back
Okay.
then, to publish a book, you needed at least a good $50,000 to do it.
Okay.
So it was kind of hard. And then that's when print on demand became popular.
Now, what is that?
Print on demand is like you can order one book at a time. So before before that, they will have these huge printing machines that just to turn the machine on, you had to pay for a run of 10,000 books just to
Okay.
warm the machine up. So that's
Wow.
where you get the $50,000 from, and they'll print the books out for you. So print on demand
So wait a
came.
minute, hold on. You just want to clarify. You
Uh-huh.
said it cost $50,000 to print off a book. Was there so many copies you had to
Yeah, you're
get up
getting about
front?
yeah, you're probably getting about 10,000 copies of a book.
10,000 copies, and that's why it
So,
costs $50,000 because it's
yeah, pretty
machine.
much.
Okay,
Yeah, just this huge machine that probably
okay.
was about as big as a house.
So the game changer was the print on demand. You
It,
print when somebody ordered a book.
right.
Okay.
It was a game changer, but it was also blacklisted by the big publishing houses because they felt that that was
That
like
was a
an
threat.
abomination for small printers to get them into the game.
Okay.
So a lot of people were paying, and then you would pay like $5,000. So print on demand was $5,000 just to, get it into the distribution
Oh, to
system,
have an account with them.
have an account with them, blah blah blah.
Oh,
But then some of these companies still wasn't getting people, so they said, "Well, we'll do." This company came out and said, "We'll do it for free. We'll get your book,
they'll take a portion of the
get,
sale.
and they'll take a portion of the sales."
Okay.
Well, a girl came to me and she's like, "Well, this company is doing it for free, but I don't want to just send them mine." And I had just like Y2K bug. I sat down, wrote a full book, 3 months, and
Now, if you don't mind, 'cause I know we're jumping around.
no, that's right.
I just want to lay out the process. So for those who are watching and who
Mm-hmm.
will watch the replay, so I know you as a teenager, you got a passion for writing and you fell in love with suspense romance novels.
Uh-huh.
So you were you writing on like a legal pad? Was you typing in a laptop? Have you always
Writing
been
in
writing
notebooks,
scripts?
writing in
And
notebooks, and then
like
I
the
would
little spiral notebooks that you would just
just,
like
yeah, anything I could
one
put
of
my
these
hands
joints
on.
right here, you would just sit and just
Yeah,
write.
just
Man,
sit and write.
longhand.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
long.
type your stuff out, or how did it?
And then I would type it out.
Oh,
So
you type it out.
that's how my
Mhm.
brain works. Is that
You
I
write it out.
usually have
Okay.
to write out a quick script. So I'm more of a pantser. I don't have an outline or anything. I just open up a blank sheet of paper and start writing.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
called a pantser. I have no plan of attack. I just know that I need to get my characters to
Okay.
one scene in the book. So
Okay.
I start journeying towards that one
Yes.
scene.
So it's just coming out of you. It's in you. You're just getting it out on paper in
Right.
a notebook.
So yeah, in the
Okay. And
notebook,
then
and then I take it and put it over on. I type it up. That's the second draft, and as on the
okay.
second draft, I incorporate the visionary, and the visualizations, the
Okay.
descriptions, and everything like that. And then the
Okay.
third draft, I go back and then I hear the voices, so they're talking to
Oh,
me.
wow, that's amazing. So you have
So
the notebook, then you type it out in the second draft, and you go back, you visualize it, you
mhm,
know how it's going to look visually in your mind, and then
right.
you hear the characters talking to you because you kind of get a feel what the characters are like, and then you
Right.
do.
You start
Okay.
to fall in love by the second draft. If I start to fall in love with the guy, who's ever the guy in
Right.
the book, I literally have to start falling in love with him to be able
This is
to
amazing.
write the romance, because then
Okay.
I'm like, oh, this is kind of, oh, I like him. Okay,
All
what we
right.
gonna
All
do?
right.
Okay,
All right.
boo, let's go.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
excited, like the reader is.
All right.
And then once the talking begins, that's when it just, of course, for females talking,
Yes.
bam, he
Right.
got us.
Right.
So
Right.
once
Right. Right.
he comes to life and he starts talking to me and telling me, like, hey, I really like you. And blam, I'm going back and forth with him. I'm her going back and forth with him. And then, hey,
And
we
that's how the
go
story
from,
comes. Now, if
yeah.
you don't mind, now I know you kind of broke down your process. You got the spiral notebook,
Mhm.
and then it just comes out of you. You just kind of jump at it. It's not you don't start like once upon a time. You just write the story. You
No.
type it out, then it starts to formalize
Yeah.
through visualization.
I do what my dad always used to tell us to do when we were trying to explain ourselves: kill the
Yeah.
cat and then explain how it happened.
All right, there you go. Kill the cat, explain it. That's great. Now, so so let's go back to, if you don't mind,
The public.
1999, your first book. So you had did all this and you was ready to go.
I was ready to go.
Now, did you have some people have did you have somebody take a look at
Well,
your manuscript or editor or
I
something?
thought when I was reading the terms, and that's why I say my first process was my learning experience. I thought these people would take my book and usher me in and, be like, hey, okay, let's get you an editor, let's get you a cover designer, blah, blah, blah. I went online, filled out the form, attached the book. I had it copyrighted and everything. I attached the book digitally, and then I sent it to them, and I'm thinking I'm
This
gonna
is
get
without an editor, without someone
without an editor, because
proofreading.
I
Okay.
thought they were gonna like help me through the
Oh, help you.
process.
Okay.
I was like, okay, let's just see, and somebody's gonna call me up or something's gonna happen. And then it was like in February, 6 weeks later, after I sent it in, and a package came on my porch, and boom, I'm an author.
Now, wait a minute. So this print on demand, you said they would do it for free, and they'll take a portion of the sales, right?
Right. But I didn't
So, what
understand that
about the cover
you
art?
know,
Like, what the? I mean, how did you
they
come up
picked
with
the
the cover art?
cover. Nope, they picked the cover. They picked the
Okay.
cover, they formatted the book, and they sent it right back to me. It was
Wow.
it was the most horrible experience.
So, did you like the cover and everything?
No. Okay, the book was called Dreams of Reality, and it was
Right.
about okay, the premise was awesome. It was about a girl who finds out she's part of an illegal drug experiment being induced to poverty women who need birth control. So these women are
Okay.
being experimented on, and she finds out she's part of the experiment. And this guy she's been dreaming of has really been in real life. They've been mind controlling these women. I was
All
like,
right.
this was a great premise. Like,
Right.
ah,
Right. Right. Right.
talk about issues women have about, not talking to the doctor right, or the doctor saying things were just, in your head and things like that. I was so ready for that. And that book came back and it had clouds on the front of it, and with dreams of reality, and then it had my name at the bottom, just clouds. That's it.
Oh, wow.
I was
Wow.
like so
So,
upset.
did you say, hey, can you do something different with the cover
If
art
I
or?
wanted it, it would be like it, that's where they got you. So it was free to do it, but like if you wanted
Oh,
changes,
you wanted changes, you
it
had
would,
to pay for
yeah,
it.
it would be
Okay.
so much, and it was just at the cost
Right.
became astronomical, and I was like, I
Right.
can't
Right. Right.
afford this. I can't afford a reprint, and I
Wow.
got
Very interesting.
into such a depression. I
Yeah.
and my mom kind of got me. Of course, my mom came to my rescue, got me out the funk, and she was like, "So what, Sylvia? You messed up the first time. Let's do it
Yes.
again." So 3 years later, I learned how to properly publish a book,
Publish a book. Okay.
how
And I
to
want to pause.
market.
If I can pause right there,
Uh-huh.
I think you said something very key. I'm gonna play some ear horns right there. Air horns. Because I'm not an advocate. We do experience failure, but I don't necessarily. I don't. I believe in failure, but I don't believe. I believe it's just a life experience. It's like,
Right.
okay, and that's how you're gonna fail your way to success anyway. I
And
always
that's
tell
what it
people,
basically
just
was.
get started. You
Yeah.
may start messy, but you are going to get nicer as you move along.
Right.
And I think people need to know, like, people will hold off on getting it push going forward with their dreams or
And that was really
publishing that
beautiful.
book because they
Yeah,
want everything to be perfect.
it
No, it's
was.
not going to be perfect. You're
Right.
gonna you're gonna get better as you go, and that's a great experience. Like your
It
first
was.
book had a picture of clouds on it, and
It
you
was
didn't like it, but
horrible.
you are still a published author.
Right. It
So
was,
fast
yeah.
forward. Okay. So
So
let's
I
fast forward because I wanted you to go into the
definitely.
details
So
to
I
see how
learned
it was publishing and
yeah.
what's the difference now. So 3 years.
But it was like in that 2-3 years that I learned how to do the hardest part of being an author is marketing, because people
Right.
don't realize it's 10% to write the book,
10% to write,
10% to publish the book, but it's
10% to publish,
80% to
to
market
market.
that book.
Okay.
So I learned the backwards way. So I was learning how to market the book, and especially in that time in 2000 to 2004, this is when digital payments started becoming popular.
Okay.
Ebooks were, I mean, people were telling me you'd never read a book on a computer. Why would you read a book on a screen? People
Right.
were into paperback books, and I was trying to hawk ebooks because I had a better copy of the book online. I'd be like, hey,
Right.
go here and you can click and
Right.
download
Right.
the book. And I'd be like explaining things, and they'd be like, nah, I'm not trusting that. I don't put my credit card information. You remember that stage? Nobody would put their credit card information
Yes.
on.
Everybody was very right back in the day.
So
Yes. You
I
was right.
was like a pioneer, kind of
Okay.
like,
We're doing
and
ebooks.
people would
Yes.
get
Yes.
so upset because they were like, oh, there's that ebook girl. And oh my goodness, I couldn't afford the paperbacks because the paperbacks were all messed up. So I was trying to learn how to publish my book, but I was at that time I was going through my divorce.
Yeah.
So I was trying to, government will put you in jail if you don't feed the kids. I don't know why, but
Right.
okay.
Right. Right.
So I
Right.
was like funneling all my money to being a single mom. At that time, I think I was only making like $7-8 an hour, and I'm just
Wow.
trying to
Wow.
publish my dream. I'm trying to do it
Yes.
without
Yes.
without putting money into it, but putting money into it. So
Yeah.
it was really frustrating. And I think that's where my mompreneur experience comes from, is that I did it. I was showing my kids how to do it. And that was the awesome part, is that, we're going through the struggles of
Yeah.
day-to-day life, but I'm slowly putting together a business in front of them and showing how to be an entrepreneur, how to make business happen, and how to get that secondary income all the while having a full-time job and being a mom and a head of a household all at the same time. So it was just that 3 years, it was like going to college of life. I was going to college of life, of just learning how to do it and bring this book. So I published my second book in 2004, and that was my baby. This was my baby story, where, I mean, this is the story that I wanted everyone to just know me for. And it was called Stone's Revenge. And it was actually about the son of a serial killer who goes after revenge
Mhm.
against the prosecuting attorney.
Yes, yes.
So I was like so excited about this as being my first project. My mom became my editor because she was actually English major, and even though
Okay. All right.
I don't advocate using friends and family, I needed to use my mom because I was at a point and I was like, Mom, I don't think I can publish the book because I can't find an editor, because I did not want to make a number two mistake again.
Right, right.
And she was like, well, I'll do it. And I was like,
Okay.
you my mom. I want you to know. I want you to know I know all that stuff.
Your mom was your editor as a child. Remember, you was writing
True.
those
She was
things.
actually, so
She
she took
started
the
her
book,
role
yeah.
as when you was a
And she
child
was
editor.
very objective, and she it was very interesting to have her as a mom and an editor to come back.
Okay.
I was scared. I was terrified when she was like, okay, you need to come over my house. And when she says that as your mom, you're listening as your mom, not an editor. And you're like, oh my
Right.
God, I'm
Okay.
in trouble. She had that kind of, you about to get a butt whooping when she gives you an order. I think all moms sound like that when they give their
Okay.
child an order.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I came over
Okay.
there and she put the book on my lap. It was filled with, so you couldn't even see the black on it. It was so much red ink. But she was like, this was an awesome story. And that just like, boom. And since
Wow,
then, because
that's
a lot of
great.
people say, well, Sylvia, you write kind of edgy, your books get kind of dark, or they get more erotic, suspense and things like that. But you know what? If my mama liked my stories, I don't care what people say. I could get
All right. Your mom was your super fan.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
she was like my first super fan, and she would just be so excited about the next story I was gonna come up with. And it was fun because the tables had turned. Now I could story tell to her, and she was excited about she was excited about it. She was just be, okay, what's the story premise? Oh,
Right.
that
Right.
sounds so
Right.
good. And then what happens? And then she would just be spurring me on, okay, then what happened? And so it'd just be so good. So it was kind of like the tables had turned. I was no longer gonna get a butt whooping for telling her
Okay.
story. So
All right. That's awesome. So your mom was your editor. You learned from the first publishing, which
from
again,
the
I believe you.
failure, I
Yeah.
learned from the failure
Well, hey, that's the process. You fail your way to success.
to success.
Now, um, I wanted to just kind of because I want to give my audience some clarity. So
Uh-huh.
you've learned your mom was editing. So when did you start monetizing? Was it with the Amazon platform? I know that the people get published through
Yeah, it
Amazon, and
started there, and
when did
then
that? Yeah, go ahead.
basically almost at the beginning, because the Amazon pretty much Amazon has been around for a very
Right.
long time.
Break down it's a specific program. Break down that program so people may be interested in that.
So right now it's called, well, they have their own program now. They had bought another company back then, but I wasn't even part of that company.
Okay.
I
You was
knew
in the
about
beginning
it.
stages. Okay.
Yeah, I knew about it. And then as I was doing my research in 2000 after the failure, I started learning about their company and the behind the scenes and what they're doing for authors. But they had what you do for their company is that right now it's called Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP.amazon.com.
KDP. Okay.
Uh-huh. So you could go on there. Well, now you can go on there literally after your book's been edited properly and you have a professional cover design.
Okay.
You can go on there, upload your book with your own ISBNs, and you go to Bowker.com, buy your own ISBNs, and literally upload
Who
your
does
book.
they do the editing? too?
No, they don't. You find your own editor. As a self-publisher, you wear all the hats. So you
Okay.
find your own
So
professional
you can go
editor.
like on Fiverr and find an editor,
You can go
like
on
if that,
Fiverr, and that's why I
right.
created kind of Motown Writers Network.
Or
So
you can go to you. Maybe do
or you
you
go to
do
me,
editing?
yeah, and say,
Your
hey, do you
company,
have
yeah.
editors? And I'll send out a resource list of editors that I feel trustworthy and are
Okay.
going to work towards your goals.
All right.
So so you find an editor, you find a professional cover designer, get it all together after the book is if you finish writing the book. And then you send it up. You literally upload it. If you can upload a photo to Facebook, you can upload a
Okay.
file to KDP, and then in less than, I'd say, 48 hours, you become an author.
Okay. So before you go to KDP though, you kind of went through a few steps.
I'm
So
sorry, I
you
went so
get
fast.
no, it's good. I just wanted just to clarify. That's my role here as the host. So you get your ISBN first.
Yes, you do get
Okay.
your ISBN. So you get your copyright on your book, of
Okay.
course.
And what's that? Is there a website? Do you go to Fiverr for that?
Copyright.gov. Copyright.gov. You go
Oh,
there.
okay.
That's the government copyright site. You upload it at that point.
Is there a fee for that to get your
That is a
ISBN?
fee. Last time I did it, it was like 45 50
Oh, that's
dollars.
it. Oh,
So,
okay.
uh-huh.
They take
Um,
cryptocurrency, or you got to have a debit card,
it's a
PayPal,
government, so you have to have digital money.
digital money. Okay, so you
Digital
get your
money.
ISBN. Oh, don't forget, you got to go to find an
Yeah, then
editor.
you go
They
you then you
contact your mom or go to Fiverr, right? Is your
right.
mom still doing editing?
Unfortunately, my mom
If
passed
she's not,
away 3 years
oh,
ago.
I'll say I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know
No,
that.
that's
Okay,
all right.
I
Well,
didn't know.
my
My apologies.
encourager passed away, but yeah,
Okay,
I got her spirit. So
they go to Fiverr or your network. You have
you can go to
explain that.
network. Yeah, we can basically refer you to different
Okay,
editors,
okay,
depending on what kind of book you have.
okay.
Because somebody who's a cookbook editor should not be editing the urban suspense,
Right,
So
right, right.
I kind of like, I'll usually say, hey, what's your genre, blah, blah, blah. And then these are the editors for that. So
Okay,
um, you get an editor, you get a professional cover designer.
okay,
Um, then you basically, that's like I usually say it's a minimum of a 3 to 4 month process,
okay.
where you're going back and
The
forth.
cover designer, you can go. I may tell me you can go to Fiverr too to
You
get a
go to
cover
Fiverr
design.
too, and get a
Okay,
cover designer for an ebook and a paperback book. Those are two
okay,
different types of covers. So you would go there and get your covers, and then you can also get a formatter too. So someone has to
okay,
format the book in the
okay,
different formats as well, and then you just upload them. Ebook, they do hardback, ebook,
okay.
and uh, paperback
So
over
what's
at.
the catch with KDP? What percentage does Amazon take
You can
for?
choose a percentage, either 30 to 70.
Well, what's the difference? If you how do you get?
70, they promote more. 30,
Oh,
you do a whole bunch of work. You can also use sites like Ingram.
hmm,
It's called ingramspark.com, where they are one of the largest distributors of paperback books around the world.
okay,
They've been in the business for a very long time, and they have connections with independent bookstores all over the world. So you can go to ingramspark.com and load your book up there. And they also load it over to Amazon as well.
all right, okay, all
So,
right,
and then there's going to be other sites. Draft to Digital, they just incorporated another company. They're probably going to be the second largest going into 2023. Draft to Digital will probably
okay,
be the second largest, and they're getting into beta. They just pushed me into their beta paperback program. So it's kind of nice being old in the game, because they'll contact you.
okay.
They
That's
know who you
great.
are, and they're like, hey, you want to try out these beta programs? So I get to try them out before other authors.
All
So
right,
it's
right.
kind of cool.
That's awesome. So I don't know if the audience realized it, but you just gave a mini masterclass on how
Pretty
to
much.
self-publish. You gave
People
a
ask
mini
me,
masterclass.
yeah, that
So
was like,
I
they just
want
got a
people.
$500 phone
Yeah,
call.
they got a mini master class. But I want you to, since you touched on it,
Uh-huh.
we talked about the whole process. You're writing your book, however your process, if it's handwritten on a notepad, typing it out, then finding an editor on Fiverr and a cover designer on Fiverr, and going to the government to get your ISBN. But you have a lot of experience and wealth of knowledge. How could someone work with you, that because somebody like me, I want to publish a book, but I probably need some hand holding. And let's say if I want to work with you and to get involved in your network, what would that process be
Well,
like
I
to where?
do offer consultations. You can always go to my website at either sylviahubbard.com or motownwriters.com, and we can do a consultation of 15 to 30 to 90 minute, depending on what you want, and then go from there.
Okay.
So yes, definitely, I do the hand holding. I'm not your friend. I will tell you exactly what you should be hearing. I'm not trying to, oh baby, that's so good, because my mama didn't do it to me.
Okay.
And so I can't do it to my clients. So I have to be honest with you. If you're doing something wrong, I will tell you. If I know it won't go to print, or using or not using things is going to be a bad interpretation to your reader. A lot of authors are in it for the passion, and I understand
Right.
passion, because I was at that point. I just wanted to be an author, and that's where
Right.
I made the mistakes and stuff. I just wanted to be an author. I really didn't do what I was supposed to do, but it interprets bad. You got to remember, the end goal is that this is for the reader. This is for somebody to pick up and you to make a profit from. Once you become an author, you are in the business of being in the writing world. It's not a
Right.
hobby anymore. So you would like that money back. You're not just, other than that, just go out and throw your money out the door. But if you're
Okay.
going to invest in something, then invest in it. And so you can get a return out of it and do a very good job doing it. So I'm kind of that kind of, mentor, is that I'm going to
Okay.
tell you exactly what you should be doing in order to get it. And it might sound like a lot of work, but I
Mhm.
like doing all the work in the beginning. So in the
Yes.
end, the end is easier than the beginning. So because I understand that it does take a lot of work to get
Yes.
where you need to be. And you want that drip income. You want
Yes.
to be
Yes.
able to be ushering into your 50s and 60s and
Right.
have a nice little drip income, like Gail Perry Mason says. Have that little drip income coming in where it just, you wake up
Yeah.
and you're making.
Passive income. Yeah. Right. Drip
So
income.
yes,
I
that
like that term, drip, instead of passive. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so we're going to go into more details in publishing and the stuff that you do with your companies. We're going to take a quick break. I got a little short announcement, and then we'll be right back with our guests.
Hey everyone, this is Charles with Detroit Metro Plug Podcast. If you are finding value in today's video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and comment. We would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to click on that notification bell so you can be notified when we have upcoming episodes of difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship and community involvement. If you're interested in being a part of our Facebook networking community, I invite you to click on the link to be a part of that community. This is a place where you can network with like minded people and a chance to share about your product or service. If you're interested in working with me directly on how you can share your story with video or with podcasting, you can email me direct at DetroitMetroPlug313 at gmail.com. Thanks again, and let's get back to this interview.
All right, welcome back. If those who are just joining us, we're live with award-winning Detroit author uh, Sylvia Hubbard. Sylvia Hubbard. Sylvia Hubbard. She has published over 55 romance suspense novels. So far, she was talking about her journey in writing as a kid. She became passionate about writing as a kid and fell in love with romance novels. And she mixes romance and suspense together. And she basically, the first part of our interview, kind of gave a mini masterclass on how to become an independent self-publishing. Now,
Yeah.
let's get more into what you do. So, what are the pros and cons to, some people they self-publish, they sell, books basically through Amazon out their car trunk, um, as
Yes.
opposed to signing a deal with like, the big publishing house. Like, what is it? What is I don't want to mispronounce
So
it.
the advantages
Yeah, yeah,
is control, and since I'm a control freak, of course it works out wonderfully for me. The other advantage is that you are going to make the majority of the profit. So working with a traditional publisher, they usually make the majority of the profit, and you go from there. You just get what's ever left over and to fill a contract or anything like that. But as a self-publisher, you are making a lot more bank, especially when it comes to ebooks and audiobooks and having the rights to everything. You hold all the rights. The disadvantage is that you are the boss. That sound, and you'll be like, no, that sounds like a good thing, but a lot of people don't realize when you are the boss, you are in charge of the mistakes and the good things and the bad things that happen. So things that do happen, and I can tell you the horror. We can go all day on horror stories of what authors have done. Not only me, but other authors have done being in charge and not going through the process of running a business right. You're in charge of all of that. And then tax time is no joke.
Now you said in sharing the pros and cons. The pros is, I guess, you have a major company that can push your books and market it, and
Right.
but you lose power, control, and profits. And then being an independent author and self-published, you own, your digital property or
Right.
your
You
written
get the
property.
majority of the
Right,
profit.
profits. Yes, yeah. So, but if you're now I'm assuming you are independent. You publish all 55 books independently. There's
Yes.
no relationship or
No
collaboration with a
relationship.
major.
I've done that doesn't include even the anthologies that I've done
Okay.
with other groups or other publishers. I've done those, but the whole 55 books going into 60 by the end of this year
You
are all
self-publish. Okay.
that's all me.
All
Yeah.
you, all you. So you set up your publishing as a business. So you have a company. Is that the Hub? What is the name
That's
of
the
it?
Hub Books Literary Service. Yes.
Hub Book Literary Services. Now, you can use me as an example. I'm looking to publish a book next year,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go through that process you kind of laid out. But there is still some upfront money. What do you think if somebody's going to publish their first book? What's the
So
ballpark they're going to need just to get
ballpark,
started?
just to get started, I would say 2,500, because
2,500. Okay.
2,500, and this is just as the down payment for your editing job, starting your editing, your cover design and everything, plus your business things that you have to set up, your website, getting great marketing material, logos and everything out there. You want to have all of that all set up as you're enduring, like I said, that 3 to 4 month period when you're working with your editor. Then you start doing the pre-orders, because that book is coming out, to bring in even more money to finish paying off the editor, finish paying off your cover designer, and then be able to start just getting the book up and market it and doing different marketing methods to get the book out. So start off with 2,500 and build from there to just kind of it's 2,500, between $2,500 to $5,000 just to get up and get out of there.
Okay, 25. So what's for a decent someone to do editing? What is that, 1,000? What's the ballpark
You're
for that?
looking at, between a good editor, you're looking at, and between, because I write books, I'm not writing short stories, so it's a big difference. That word count, look, that word count kills you. I'm gonna tell you that. So like you're looking at between $750 to $1,500 for a really good, decent editor who is going to bring it home. My last book, which came out to 110,000 words, it was basically about $1,200. So.
Oh wow, okay. And okay, so the editing, then you talk about marketing, purchasing your ISBN number, your website, and stuff like that.
So that's what you need, about the 2,500, so you can get up and
Where do
running.
people how do people fund it? This initial cost, is it credit cards? They borrow money, they get a bank loan, credit.
Yeah. Put your leg out on Woodward, whatever it takes.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do.
Okay.
Don't do that.
GoFundMe account. I don't know.
Yeah. Basically, it's your own personal, because it's a business. So it's just like if you're starting a business, where would you find the money at?
Wherever you find. Okay.
Yeah, wherever you can find the money,
I can't imagine if you know, I don't know if banks or credit unions do they, if you say, hey, I'm an author and I need money
you
to
can get
borrow.
small business loans.
Okay.
It is a literary business is included
Okay.
into a small business, and there are
Okay.
grants around that are
Okay.
available. We even have like the Kresge Foundation actually does $50,000 grants
All
a
right.
year to authors. Then you can get money like that. So it's a lot of grants around that do help urban, especially urban authors. So
Okay.
use that Detroit status as a badge of honor
All right.
because you can get a lot of money from that. And of
Now,
course, there's speaking engagements. Then there's online stuff you can do
okay.
even before the book comes out. The pre-orders that come in.
Yes, yes.
There's so much ways to make money off of it. In
Okay.
order to get your dream up and running.
All right. That sounds awesome. So what do you specifically do with your company, Hub Books Literary Services?
So
You help
right
new
now
authors like me, or
we
what do you?
did used to publish authors, but I kind of pulled back after a while and started concentrating on just me. It
Okay.
was a selfish endeavor, but I wanted people to actually know me as a romance suspense author and not as that, yay, the Motown Writers Network. And it wasn't like I was jealous of it. It was just like, well, I got into this business to be known as an author. So I
Okay.
pulled back because the company was taking up so much of my time, and I got my other authors independent and on their feet while I decided to go on my own journey as an author again and be able to publish, gather readers, and be able to sell books. So now what we do is that we do referral services, and then we also do small graphic designs to help authors get on, we help them put together packages, so forth, for their
Okay.
marketing materials and things like that. And then
So
the
you have a
compensation.
team that helps out with that? With
Actually, right now I have a small team.
okay.
It's funny. That's weird to say. I do have a small team, and then we also do the marketing for authors as well. So we have
Okay.
small marketing packages to kind of get them up and running, get great search engine optimization,
All right.
and then
Okay.
go from there. So that's what we do
So
for
I
right.
can, as a new author, I can reach out to you. I'm just using myself as an example.
You
I
can,
intend to write a book within a year or so.
yay!
I'm busy in school right now, so
It's
I'll
kind
be
of
done
like
in just
announcing you're
December.
pregnant. That's how
Yeah,
excited I am. Like, oh
yeah.
my God, congratulations.
So I can reach, instead of going to Fiverr, I can reach out to you to
Reach out to me, and then we
on
can sit
your
down
business.
and discuss where you
Okay.
want to go with this book, because usually that's what I want to know. What is your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal for your book?
Okay.
And then we go from there. Then that way the things that we set up will help you if you want to do another book, so it kind of gets you on your way,
Okay.
and things like that. I send you resources,
Okay.
help you start off that first month journey, 3-month journey, 1 year
Okay.
journey, and then let's go.
Okay, great, great. Now you talked about you in my introduction, and you talked briefly about the Motown's writing network.
Right.
Explain what's that all about. I know it's a Facebook group,
So
and
we were an offline group before, the big blast.
yeah,
And then we became online for the last 2 years, but we are going to be moving offline back into the libraries. We meet every second Saturday with a guest speaker who either has knowledge in writing, publishing, marketing.
hmm
And we still do it online. So every second Saturday they come in and basically just teach authors and writers how to do the writing, publishing, and marketing. And I'll have speakers like Pam Perry, who would usually charge just $2,500 a session, come in and do a 45-minute workshop on how to become your own publicist, or how to
Oh
do the
wow,
marketing, and even how to just do interviews. She'll come in and do,
right.
she's done that. I'll have search engine optimization experts come in and talk about just basically how to get your book out there on the internet and make sure that eyes can get to it.
Wow,
We've
wow.
had publishing experts, like literally Dale, self-publishing with Dale, and he came in and did what authors should be doing in the upcoming year. And we're actually going to actually have him come back again to say what authors should be doing in 2023. And he gave like so many tips and tricks that it was just amazing. And then we even had Evan from Story Origin, and he
Okay.
created an app for authors that basically can connect you to other people's newsletter lists, to
Wow,
have
wow.
universal links, to create all the little marketing things that you need behind the scenes in order to run your book business, and he came in and basically taught people how to run a newsletter professionally.
Okay. So
Literally.
we got a comment. Somebody wants to know, what if the person wants to do a workbook?
We
Is that
can walk you through that as well. Yep.
okay?
Any
All right.
type of literary medium, I basically can tell you how to do it and how to do it right,
Okay.
and how to do it without breaking the bank. Whatever, because I've been from zero. I've worked from zero to 100,000, so I know the
Okay.
process. I bought my house on my book money, so I
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I
Wow.
know I know the process.
I wanted for our those who are viewing who will see the playback. So how does someone get involved in the Motown Writers Network? Do they request to be a part of the
Yep,
Facebook
you
group?
can come and be subscribed to be a member. Just go to motownwriters.com and then
Okay.
join us every second Saturday. We send out information on what's going on. If you are author,
Those
even
are in-person events or just online
right
events?
now, it's online. And like I said, we're going to be offline soon. I do fairs, and I do other events, and I'm always telling you about any offline speaking events as we slowly get offline. I do have a lot of speaking events that are coming up.
Okay.
So yes, come and subscribe so you'll find out where I'll be speaking and what I'll be speaking about. It's because it's a variety of subjects
Oh,
that I
awesome,
talk about.
awesome. Give that website one more time because
So
somebody
it's
may want to
motownwriters.com.
motownwriters.com
And
and
then you
then
can always like find us on Facebook at the Motown Writers Network group and
Motown
join.
Writers Network group.
And just we send out
Wow.
information even for advanced authors of events that are coming up that you can vendor at, book events, book fairs, street
Okay.
fairs that are looking for vendors where you can get out there with your book, face to face crowds. Plus, sometimes we have calls for speakers. There are other podcasts that ask for speakers or authors to come on board, depending on what their topic is. So I find out all this information and I funnel it into the group to help you no matter
Wow.
what
Wow.
stage you are at.
How many? And these are mostly people from Michigan that's in this group.
A lot of them are
Motown
from
Writers.
Michigan. The majority of the group, I'd say 80% of the group are from Michigan, or they're coming to Michigan thinking
Okay.
about doing events here and
Okay.
things like that. There are librarians in there who
All
talk
right.
about, coming to their library. There are book
Okay.
sellers in there who also want to interest authors and helping them sell books. So everyone, there are literary businesses is in there that just,
Wow. Wow.
doing this opportunity, or hey, we got this going on. So it's a lot of people in there who just
Okay.
want to spread the
That's
word. And
great.
then I'm
So
constantly pushing out information,
yes. Yes.
articles, and so forth.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, we want to encourage you if you are an author or a writer or blogger and you're looking for a community, because I believe that to level up, to go to the next level, things
networking
happen
is
is
important.
important
Basically.
in
Yep.
community, accountability, inspiration, resources. So check out motownwriters.com. Go to the Facebook group, request to be a member. I think in our pre-interview you said it was over 10,000 members that's part of
Yep,
this
I
group.
signed
Yeah.
up a part of our group on our newsletter list, and
All
in the
right.
group itself, I think we're going to be hitting 5,000 soon.
Okay.
In our group alone. So it's a pretty big group, and it's a lot of interactivity. And we share
Okay.
our experiences and
That
share
is
what we're
awesome.
doing and things like that. Because
I'm gonna make sure I
four
join
good
that group.
brains is better than one brain. So
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so a few other things before we wrap up.
uh-huh.
Thanks again. You've basically gave a mini master class on self publishing. Now you said something interesting. You published 55 romance novels,
Yes,
and your companies helped to birth thousands of other books. That's correct.
yes, yes.
Now,
10,
I
10
gotta ask your process. I mean, how are you pumping out books? You going to the studio and just writing? I mean, how are you getting all these books out? So you do like one every 3 months? Or you
grace and
putting out
mercy.
albums like Drake or something? How are you, how are you getting all these books published? That's amazing. 55.
You just I just say one word at a time. I'm usually always, no matter what, I'm always writing. And it's so funny because my husband, I had to thank my husband the other day because I was like, I was scared to get married again because I was like, I thought you would interrupt my writing process,
Oh,
because
wow.
I'm always writing. There's no excuse. I'm either and he even gave me, like, now I got a digital pad so I can write down
Okay.
digitally and then go to my computer and just pull it up as a typewritten document. So that's kind of like, because I'm always writing no matter what. So I'm literally pumping out. I think my last book was it turned to a saga. So that came out to like 300,000, and that was my fourth book of the year. So literally I have like two more books to write by the end of this year, and I'm on the way to finishing another one. So it's kind of like I'm constantly just, yeah, Denise is right. People think I never sleep
You know,
because I'm constantly just writing and publishing. It just book after book after book. If you saw my work in progress, and I'm never supposed to die because it's just
oh
so many
wow.
books. I
Well,
just
I thought like I follow another person who's a writer. I
Mhm.
don't know if you know who Tony Gaskins is. He's a life
Yeah,
coach.
I know
And so
Tony.
yeah, he'll go away for a week, like rent an Airbnb and kind of have an for 5 days. He goes
And
and
that's
writes.
fine
And
for
then some
someone who
people
don't
have.
have
So what is your
kids.
process? Do you write? You carrying like a notebook, like you're a rapper or
So
something, and just
yeah,
kind of
for
write.
someone who don't have kids, that's amazing, and don't have a full 40-hour work week job. So I'm trained from that, from having three small children
Oh, okay.
running around, plus being head of the household and working a 40-hour. You get in where you can fit in. So if
Wow.
it's not a little notebook that I'm writing down on, then it's something else. I'm writing on napkins. I used to write on
Wow. Wow.
anything I
Wow. Wow.
can, and
So
then hurry up. It was a time during that whole process I would like not have a computer, and then we were even homeless, and our house had burned down, and I had lost
wow.
everything. And I would write on like little tiny notebooks that I could find for free. Yeah, I would go to these, I would go to
Right.
events just to get free
Wow.
notebooks,
Wow. Wow.
write things down. And then at work during my lunch hour, I'm clicking away at the typewriter. Or I could go to the library, and I have
Mhm.
30 minutes. I'd put the kids, the older kids in the children's section, put the baby under the chair, and then just click away for 30 minutes trying to answer
Yeah.
my emails. So you do whatever you have to do as a mom, and as a woman, you fit it in. Even if it's just, okay, if I could wake up 30 minutes early and I want to try to get 10,000 words in one day. And that
Wow.
literally, that's pretty much my
Now,
process,
do
is
you do
10,000
you
words a day.
now for me? I gotta have blocks of concentrated time. I typically like right now I'm in grad school, so
Mhm.
I'm at Panera Bread or the library
Right.
to
I
do my
can
work.
I can
Because
shut down
I
and write
can't
a love
study, at home as mu if I have to, I will work at home,
Right.
but I like to get out of the house and
I'm
change my
waiting for the
environment.
kids to get out of school and
Oh,
sitting
okay.
there for 20 minutes. I even have a desk in my car. I can like
Oh,
put it on my
wow, wow,
steering
wow,
wheel
wow.
and then just start writing. I
Okay,
have a Bluetooth keyboard I keep everywhere that
okay.
connects to my phone. And now I have like the new phone that folds out. So it
Oh,
turns into a
wow.
little computer, and
Computer.
I can
Wow, wow.
literally either write on the screen,
You
or
got
I
all
can.
the
So
tools.
yeah, everything that I have around me is
So
centered around
what is the
like
source of your inspiration?
Detroit.
Just Detroit? Just drama? I mean, what do you
Just
mean, Detroit drama? Just what is it
just
about Detroit that gives you inspiration?
everything. The spirit
Everything?
of Detroit, the
Wow.
drama, the violence, and the strength behind everybody. I think
Wow.
that's where real love comes from. When you can love something despite the ugliness of what people feel about it, and you still love it. That's a romance on its own.
Okay. Wow,
That
wow.
that's where my source of, and then just reading the news every day. Hey, how can you not
Right.
come up with a story of
Right,
like
right,
too good to believe? So that's where my inspiration comes, and just from being in the city and just from hearing the stories of the struggles that people go
right,
through.
right, right.
You want them to find true love. Like, what
Okay.
happened to that person when they went out at 10 o'clock at night? What really
Wow.
happened? What was the
Right, right.
drama behind that? And
Okay.
was it love behind it? So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So inspiration from City Detroit. It sounds like you watch the news and maybe get an idea of a story or something.
I'm automatically, no matter what, it's always a
So
what
it's
if
like,
in every
what if?
situation. And
Okay.
that's what I learned
So
from my mom days, from this there's always a what if, and what could I make it better, or how
right,
could I
right.
throw a romance or suspense in there somehow and make it a happily ever after. So
Okay, great, great. So great. You're doing great work. So that's great inspiration to hear about how you're inspired by our city. Before we close, a few other things. You mentioned a little bit. You said something about you were able to pay your house with or purchase your house or cash
yeah.
out. I'm not sure with your book deals or selling your books. So I gotta ask, because you have some self-publishing authors are successful,
Mhm.
some maybe experience a little success, then you maybe taper off. What are some tips in marketing? How can you I saw a gentleman, he has a class. He says how to make six figures from your with your books and monetizing and doing other things. Is that true? Is that possible?
It
What
is.
is
It's actually pretty
Yeah,
possible.
and I don't want to, you don't have to give everything away. Of course, I want people to
Well,
work with you. But
they're
what are some basic
speaking.
tips?
So some people just think it's just that I have to sell a book. It's not just that. It's more of taking that book and making it into a stream of income. So it can be a source of speaking events, a workbook. It can turn into a workbook. It can turn into a whole online class. That book can become a source of a audio book. You can make money from that. So you should be able, from one book, you should be able to derive at least 7 streams of income from one book. And then, so now that you can imagine, I have 55 books plus the nonfiction books plus the anthologies
That
that I
sounds
do.
like a lot of streams.
That's a lot of streams. That's a lot of
Oh,
streams.
okay.
And so
You
you're just
flooding, you flooding over there.
yeah,
That's a lot of streams.
damn.
That sounds like a flood.
That's it.
So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said,
that's
if you don't
yeah.
mind, what are some of those 7 streams? You said
So it's,
speaking.
yeah, speaking events, online courses, offline courses, workshops, classes, digital notebooks, digital workbooks, even workbooks from there, even sub books. So it can become, it just builds and builds. Like, you should be able to sit down and become and be able to just say, hey,
Okay.
from this book I can do this and this to bring in income. The next book then will go a little bit higher and bring in even more money,
Okay.
while you're, and then you still have your back catalog.
Right, right.
So that's even more money from what the
Okay.
older books are still drawing money as you come out
Okay.
with more and more books. So
Okay. Is that something that Hub Books, is that something you
yep,
help people
we do
with?
talk about,
What
and
they
we
do
will try to get you into. So depending on where you are as an author, you can bring in more streams of income. So beginning authors, of course, can't just jump in and say, "Hey, you need to pay me $100,000 to show you how to write a book." No, you're a new author. You can't do this. So you have to build your way up. But there are always, at each level that
Mhm.
you are as an author, you can come out with a stream of income extra than just selling a book.
Just selling. Okay. So use it for speaking engagements,
Right.
other,
This is no longer a hobby. This
yeah,
is
a
a
business.
business.
Okay.
So get into the business of writing. Once you do that, you can come up with so much.
All right. One of our viewers says, Miss Loretta said, this is great information. I
Thank
know this is basically
you.
a mini masterclass on self-publishing.
Yeah, I saw
Do
you
you-
taking notes. You're like,
oh yeah, this is hey, I invite guests. Sometimes it's almost like a free coaching session when I have them on my podcast. And
right.
I learn just as the viewers learn, because
Yeah.
I wanted to become an author as well. Now, how do people work directly with you if they want to? Is there, they email you? What's the
Yeah,
best
they
way
can
for
just
them to?
email me. They can always go to my website at sylviahubbard.com, hit the contact button, and there you are. You can see my it's over here. You can see my you can see my Instagram and Twitter, anything on social media. This is my handle. You can go there and just basically find me and contact me. On LinkedIn, I'm Sylvia Hubbard. On Facebook, I'm Sylvia Hubbard. So everywhere else, I'm just Sylvia Hubbard 1. You can find me and contact me, and we can go from there. I can send you a calendar link, and we'll start up services.
Okay, that is awesome. You shared a lot of great information. I want to thank you again
Yeah.
for your time. How do people get access to your books? 55 of those romance.
They're available wherever books are sold. Of course,
Okay.
they're on my website, and we're Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, the iBooks, Google.
You are also. I'm a big fan because of to maximize my time. I consume most of my books by using Audible. Are your books on Audible as
So
well?
that's what I'm working on this year. That's a
Okay.
endeavor. I started 3 years ago, then everything blew up. put things aside. But now I'm actually working on my first stream of books coming out on Audible. So a lot of them are coming out on there.
Okay.
So,
Are you narrating them, or you're
no,
paying
I
people,
hired
actors or something?
somebody because I don't like my voice. I
Yeah, I
went to
understand.
Tex Howard, and Randy Miles taught me how to say W right. She would
Yes, 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 yes.
clock us if you
I'm
didn't say
assuming
that.
with nonfiction or fiction books, well, I think all the books on Audible have been nonfiction. So I would assume like a
Nonfiction books,
romance
there's a
suspense
lot of,
novel wouldn't it be
yeah.
more acting? They're acting it out, or are they reading
Some
it?
of
Or,
them are acted out, but I
yeah.
kind of like the fiction books when it's just one person reading. If I want an entertainment like that, I
Oh,
have to go see a movie.
now that
I don't want it
segues.
in my ear.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had in one of my podcasts I interviewed a local filmmaker, Dennis Reed, the
Hey, I
second.
know Dennis. Oh my
So
god.
has he ever, or has anybody, a film producer, ever looked at one of your books to convert to film
Yes, I've
or a
had a
play?
couple of them. We're still in talks, going back and forth.
Okay.
It's not like an
Steven
overnight kind of thing.
Spielberg or Spike Lee or somebody or
Not
Tyler
that
Perry?
big, I wouldn't say, but I have been contacted, and of
Oh,
course,
okay.
with a
Yeah.
flurry of books. Yeah, I have a lot of things going
Yes.
on.
Yes. I'm
So
even. Yeah.
definitely.
Well, that is awesome. Thanks again. You shared some great information. And I was here taking notes. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your service in our community.
Thank you.
This is a way to not only provide good information, but to give flowers to people who are doing great things in our city and celebrate your contributions. So I appreciate all that you're doing. I want to make
Thanks.
sure I join that Motown's Writers
Yes,
Network.
definitely come and
Yeah,
join us. We'll have our
and
second
then
Saturday event
yes,
coming
and
up.
if you have a a live event, maybe we can do a collaboration. We can do a
Oh
live
yeah,
podcast or something, or
that'll
we
be
never know.
cool. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Any other announcements before we wrap things up?
I'll be starting my new book. Actually, I do live storytelling on Kindle Vella, Amazon Kindle Vella platform, where people can actually come and see me write a book through the whole process. That'll start at the end of August, and I'll be publishing two of my books by September and December. So make sure you subscribe to my website. And like I said, I do have several upcoming speaking events. I can't think of them right now, but I have them. So subscribe to my website either at sylviahubbard.com or motownwriters.com so you can find out where I'll be speaking at and more information about what I'm doing. So yes, those are my announcements.
Well, we thank our guest Sylvia Hubbard, award-winning author, published over 55 romance suspense novels. She has a company, Hub. What was it again? Hub Source. I'm not
Hub
sure.
Books.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Hub Books. Yes. So check her out online. If you want to join the network, motownswriters.com. Join that network. So I encourage you and support her. She got some new books, some new stuff coming out. You can get books on Amazon or wherever they sell books. Again, we thank our guests. I want to give some applause to that. Um, Thank you for watching. If you watch this live or you're going to watch the playback, the playback on YouTube will have information for her contacts, her website in the description below. And I encourage you, if you find value in what we're doing, please like and leave comments and subscribe and tell your friends about it. Thank you. That ends our show for tonight.